day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Maury. Them poor rich kids get their money on phone it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah. We got the good. Good of them assets, good of my bag. Get rid of cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a blast from the past. We on the smash, yeah. Be prepared to hit the gas, yeah. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel. Try. Blood eye, and we travel. Woo. That's my child. Woo. Blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the high, yeah. Sharing no haka from Virginia. Yeah. I know I'm more because I'm blessed. I know I'm more. I passed the test.
We got to see with the true eyes. We need some brand new bright ideas. We got the hearts and some great minds, yeah. If we could all just be sincere.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel. Try. Blood eye, and we travel. Woo. That's my child. Woo. Blood eye, and we travel. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the high, yeah.
Here, I got you right here. Come on. Come on.
I'm booking up today, parking go to Eugene.
Come on, man. What you gonna do? I ain't got all damn day now. Eugene, I've been here over 30 years. Sit in my chair. You can trust me.
I want this.
Are you okay? The combiners? Okay, I got you. It's a little tight. Come on, man. You gotta sit still and shut the fuck up. You know what? Go ahead, get up. If you don't listen, get up. No, sit down. You want your hair cut, right? Oh, damn shit. Listen, what the fuck? Why you keep talking to me, man? Young nigga, you stay over there. Stop worrying about me. I've been telling you that for fucking 10, 30, fucking 40, fucking... What the fuck? Good, man. Just sit still, man. I told you, fucking sit still.
Alright, bro.
You got some of that black shit? Oh, fuck this, man. You ain't sit still.
Eugene.
Wait, take your peppermint. Here, get your wine.
Peace to the party. It's your homeboy back again with the news. You know we got a special one today, y'all. You see what it is. Southern Gate of the Slave Trade. We got Lee Cummings pulling up. Mac gonna be in the building, and we got another special guest for y'all named Amos gonna pull up a little later. Before we get going though, you know how we always do. So ran across some interesting build that I want y'all to hear. Basically stating that white people didn't exist in law before 1681. So I want you to hear from the bill. Let's do this introduction because this is what we always talk about anyway. And this is going to lead into the 13 colonies, the slave trade, the whole nine. So let's start there. Do what we always do. And we're going to chop it up in the comments and hold it down until Lee and Matt get here.
White people did not exist before 1681. Again, white people did not exist on planet Earth until 1681. Number two, any claim that this group called white people, any claim that that group is rooted in biology or derived from genes or biology or is innate or is from nature is a lie. Third and final point, as a matter of foundational law, actually let me say it this way, white supremacy has been embedded in the United States of America from its founding as a matter of law. Now, I don't expect you to buy all that, to get all that, to believe all that, at least not now. But my job is to share with you the legal history that proves each of those three claims that I begin with. So let's go. Let's get started. We have to begin this conversation in colonial North America, specifically in the colonies, the British colonies of Maryland and Virginia. Both were British colonies, and both shared a number of particular characteristics. First, their economies were rooted in tobacco farming. If you know much about tobacco farming, it requires tremendous human labor, lots and lots of workers. So those who owned large plantations, big landholders, constantly needed laborers to do the work to grow the tobacco. In addition to sharing an economic base, both colonies had an incredible gender imbalance, roughly 10 men for every woman. Now, let's understand a little bit about the folks who constitute the people in these two colonies. Oh, and by the way, let me give you a year. We're in the early 1600s, okay? The early part of the 17th century, colonial North America. England had, for some bizarre reason that today demographers cannot explain, there was a population boom in England in the early 17th century. So there were lots and lots of poor British people who were on the public doles, who couldn't find a way to make a living, who couldn't feed themselves. So the king in England was quite happy to have them sign a contract of indenture to then go work in the British colonies. And
real quick, for anybody, for y'all who've been tapped in to us and been hearing about these builds about the 13 colonies, make sure y'all paying attention. I don't want to interrupt too much, but I want to make sure that y'all paying attention to what she's saying.
And that is what happened. Both indentured and enslaved persons, according to historian Edmund Morgan, were sold and traded like cattle. But of course, not all laborers stand equal in terms of their labor agreement or lack thereof. Those who came under a term of indenture worked for a term of years, and presumably this indenture was an agreement that they chose to enter into. The terms of indenture were largely protected by British law, although the terms that took form in colonial North America were quite different than those that existed in England. For example, in England, indentured servants could marry because that was viewed as the way to produce the next group of workers. In this country, indentured servants were prohibited from marrying, and if women were unfortunate enough to get pregnant during their term of indenture, they added usually about 7 to 9 years onto their term of indenture and 1 year to the father. Slavery, of course, was a status that came with life, work for life. There was neither British law nor international law to prohibit or restrict slavery. What we do know is that at this time period in colonial North America, there were free persons of African descent. We know that landholders freed slaves. They did so in wills. They did so by allowing them to purchase their own freedom or the freedom of a family member. The vast majority of workers, laborers, in colonial North America at this time were British men, British workers, the vast majority.
Yeah, I heard that right. The vast majority were British workers.
There were some women, there were some European laborers from Portuguese, Dutch, folks from Ireland and from Scotland are also revealed in the records, but the vast majority were British men. There were small numbers of persons of African descent, and there were even smaller numbers of members of native tribes. But in this slide, I'm trying to capture the socioeconomic ladder, and really that ladder should be about as long as this room. The landholding elite are, in today's parlance, that's the 1%. And the vast majority of folks who were in the colonies were laborers. Again, they were British, other Europeans, Africans, and members of native tribes. Here's what I find folks have the most difficult time with. We tend to really struggle with getting a good picture of social life, the social context at this juncture. We're very good at understanding the social relations that exist later, and we'll talk about those in a moment. But pre-Bacon's Rebellion society is something that we generally in this country struggle to grasp. So I'm going to do my best to paint a broad stroke picture of this time period. What we know is that British and African laborers worked, ate, and slept together. Furthermore, the evidence from this period, which covers the first 3/4 of the 17th century, that the anecdotal evidence reveals that they lived under similar conditions and faced the same opportunities and chances to make it once one was free of their term of service, whether free of enslavement or free of indenture. So let's review this. British laborers constituted the vast majority of the populations in both colonial Maryland and colonial Virginia. All men, of course, because the law of coverture, let me tell you something about that law of coverture. The law of coverture is derived from British common law, and it structures marriage. And this is how Barrister Blackstone famously described the law of coverture. In marriage, the man and the woman become one, and the one is the man. You didn't have the right to retain your own wages. You couldn't create estate planning, wills, or trusts without the approval of a man. So all men who were free of indenture or enslavement faced the same opportunities in these colonies as a matter of law. For example, free men of African descent could own servants or slaves, and they did. They could vote, and they did. They could marry persons of the opposite sex. God, and I love that I have to make that qualification now. Woo! They could marry persons of the opposite sex regardless of national origin, and they did. In fact, marriages between men of African descent and women primarily of British descent were not uncommon at all. In one county, 1/2 of the free men of African descent were married to a European woman. There was a challenge to these marriages, but it did not come from the masses. It came from elites, and that's what we're going to talk about next. All right, this little depiction is meant to be a depiction of the lawmakers in Maryland, colonial Maryland lawmakers. They passed a law in 1664 punishing, and I quote, British and other freeborn women who marry enslaved Negro men. The punishment for entering into these marriages was that the woman herself would be enslaved for her husband's life, and any children they have would be enslaved into their 20s. Now imagine that you are a plantation owner. That's not a bad deal. I get more property. I like that. And that is exactly what happened. Rather than deter these marriages, which is the express intent of the law of 1664, rather than deter them, these marriages were encouraged by property owners because that, in fact, that such a marriage increased their property value. This law of 1664 represents, if not the first, certainly the precursor to anti-miscegenation law. These are laws that punished or prohibited marriage between, notice that white people didn't exist yet in 1664, at least as referenced in that law. But most generally speaking, anti-miscegenation law prohibited and punished marriages between a white person and a specific non-white person or persons. Let me be really clear. I read all the time in history books, in academic texts, and I read anti-miscegenation law described as prohibiting interracial marriage. That's not correct. For example, a member of a native tribe could marry a person of Chinese descent. Both were understood as racially distinct, but never did anti-miscegenation law prohibit such kinds of marriages. The only marriages that anti-miscegenation law prohibited were those between a white person and always a person of African descent, and sometimes various other groups. Okay, so just so we're really clear about anti-miscegenation law and its link to whiteness. A couple other things to note about anti-miscegenation law. It's not derived from British law. Anytime we look at law and study history and you see a break from British common law, you always want to pay attention because it tells us something about the needs and desires of those who wielded power in the colonial context. So anti-miscegenation law was one of these laws. They were passed colony by colony and then state by state. It's a really important area of law for a number of reasons. But for our purpose this morning is because it's where this human category called white first appears on planet Earth, the first time. In addition, anti-miscegenation law is important because it lasted more than 300 years. These anti-miscegenation laws literally shaped the faces of this group of more than 2,000 X number of people that I'm looking at today. The Maryland legislature sought to correct for the encouragement of marriages that they described in that previous law of 1664 as, quote, a disgrace, unquote, to the British people, as an indication that the, quote, British or freeborn woman must be forgetful of her status as free, end quote. So they passed the law of 1681, and in this law, it made it illegal for British and other white women from marrying a Negro slave. And furthermore, the law punished any landholder who encouraged the marriages and any religious authority who performed it. This law equals the invention of the human category white. did these group of laborers, some of whom were from Portugal, some from Holland, some from Ireland, Scotland, did they have a little genetic transformation that occurred right after the General Assembly in Maryland met, creating a genetic sludge that we can now call white? Virginia passed its first anti-miscegenation law in 1691. In Virginia, the law prohibited both white men and white women from marrying a person of African descent or a member of a native tribe. But lest I leave you thinking that gender equality was being created in this law, let me quickly dispel that. Studies of antebellum courts reveal that, in fact, anti-miscegenation law was that, at least in the language of the law, prohibited these marriages for white men and white women. But here's what we know from antebellum court cases. We know that plenty of white men married and or engaged in intimate sexual relations with prohibited women. However, very rarely were they brought to court and punished under the anti-miscegenation law. Very rarely. So here, pay attention to this. This law, in its enforcement, is largely focused on controlling the relationality and the sexuality of white women and non-white men. Furthermore, think about the enforcement practices that come out of this particular law. What's the result? Who becomes more available for who? We see a further step in locating patriarchal power squarely among and within white men. We've talked about the law of 1664 and the amendment to that law in 1681. And we've noted that the key difference between those two is the reference to the group who's of concern. The language has shifted from British and other freeborn to British and other white women in that particular law. So the question becomes, well, what the heck happened between 1664 and 1681? And the answer is Bacon's Rebellion. This was a massive revolt in the colony of Virginia that lasted more than a year. Let me give some background of the seeds of this rebellion, what helped give rise to this violent outburst. Those who were enslaved, I don't think it's hard to imagine, were by definition of their status disgruntled laborers. And remember that pool of readily available workers from England who were poor and happily sent off in the guts of ships? Well, they dried up. That population surge ended, and there was no longer a pool of laborers from Britain available to handle the work on the plantations in the colonies. The result is they began to impose harsher punishments on indentured servants who were already here, so that relatively minor infractions would result in significant extensions to their years of service. Those who completed their term of indenture or who were released from their status as enslaved were frustrated. They were frustrated because the King of England gave almost all of the farmable land to his buddies. And even if they could find land to grow tobacco on, prices dropped and taxes went up. So land and other opportunities became much more limited. So this guy, Nathaniel Bacon, the guy pointing his arm, he didn't have to search very far for disgruntled laborers. Both those who were enslaved or indentured faced worse treatment, and those freed faced less ability to make a future for themselves. Persons of European and African descent fought in the first phase of Bacon's Rebellion against members of native tribes. and then in the second phase of Bacon's rebellion against the British ruling elite. Nathaniel Bacon ultimately died from wounds that he received in a battle, and England sent troops into the colony, and that eventually quashed the rebellion. But not without having made a significant impression upon those who wielded authority and were threatened by this rebellion. Remember, this rebellion lasted over a year, and records from lawmakers in Virginia to the Legal Oversight Authority in England revealed that over 30% of the population were in support of the rebellion. Here were the lessons from Bacon's rebellion. A united labor force is a threat to the form of capitalism taking hold within the colonies. Virginia lawmakers wrote letters to the Oversight Authority in London explaining that they intended to pursue a divide and conquer strategy in order to prevent future rebellion. It's only after Bacon's rebellion that we see the emergence of white people as a group of humanity.
Hey, I hope y'all was listening, man. She said only after this did the emergence come of white people. Now, we don't mean physically. We're talking about as a status and within law, right? So it's important that we break this down, because what have we been saying, right? Author Lee Cummings, the missing link, the Negro question, is telling you how many British men were in these colonies, way more than anybody else by far, okay? We have broken down, going through the manifest, talking with Lee Cummings about all of these Black Europeans from specific places, not all of Europe, flooding into the colonies, right? And then this is explaining how at this time in the early on in the colonies, Black and white wasn't a thing. You know what I'm saying? So what we about to do is take it to our next phase. All right, hit you with a quick commercial. When we come back, we got Mac pulling up, and then we're going to get to Lee Cummings. Y'all hold tight. We're going to get to it. Appreciate everybody tapping in. It's going to be a good show tonight.
Niggas, the top 5 lister, double S drifter, separate sipping, and you know I came with it if she cute.
Check. All right, we got Mac just pulled up. Mac, what's good, bro?
Chilling, man. What's popping with y'all? How y'all doing out there? What up, Monte?
Back at it, bro.
Back at it, man. Hey, real quick though, I told you in the back, you know what I mean? But that last joint you did on Saturday, was tough with the Supreme Court, John. I want to just give you a shout out live on the
Appreciate that, bro.
news covering that law. And as you just came in with this and the white thing, you know what I'm saying, dealing with the status part and making sure you made that clarification that, you know, we're not saying that everybody that came out of Europe was black in the time
Correct.
frame of the 13 colonies King James situation. Lee Cummings already broke down that it was when the white people invaded Europe. You know what I'm saying? So they've been in Europe for a very long time too. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it just also breaks the monotony of people thinking that black and white people weren't living together prior to some American shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you know, the fact that still that could be kind of crossed also with this word Swarthy. I sent you well, I put it in the chat actually, you know what I'm saying, while that playing the video was playing. And it's on our YouTube channel. I don't know if I sent it to you, dog. Hold on real quick.
What's it? Oh, I think I did get it. Yeah. Hold on real quick.
Yeah. Let me get that while we wait for Lee. Let me know when Lee pull up. You say you should be here.
You shared our YouTube post?
Yeah, it's a YouTube post we put up, you know what I'm saying? Because of people debating with the Swarthy thing. And in fact, let me get that right there if I can find that too.
Yeah, while we do that, we'll go through. My boy say, where my boy say, oh no, my boy say, where Lee at? He on the way, my boy. That's hilarious. Hey, so then
Lee, boy.
Oh yeah, that's what's up though. That's love. Then we got it said, was this also the birth of the KKK? The poor whites trying to keep their status above the so-called Negro, building for themselves, trying to on land. How does Prince Hall fit into this? Well, the KKK, this was after. KKK was after this, but it was in furtherance of the whole white supremacy narrative. But Prince Hall, Mac, I'll let you hit that one.
I mean, well, Prince Hall comes into play dealing with this term African in 1791. Obviously, when as she talked about dealing with the term white and how they were starting to delineate themselves in law. So, from my knowledge, I would say that it's, for instance, since you brought up Prince Hall, he definitely is in the time frame of the African Lodge being founded around the same time when the first census is taken. And as we've gone and looked, going into that first census, I put that in the chat as well. Going to that time frame, they had the categories, the new United States of America, and white, free people of color, Indian, were like the major categories in that first census. So in that situation, you know, it could get tricky because of the fact that there's some free people, as the lady just said on the video, that were, free in those colonies and were able to marry and do certain things in certain ways. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you might want to go look into the lodge and see where they got their charters and stuff from. I would say that too. But this right here in this link here though, we shared this joint. I know you can't make it big because it's the YouTube joint, right? Unless you want to you probably could click on the actual link, Monte, probably, and make it easier for you if you went to the link that's in there.
What about now?
It's better now. That's good. I think everybody can see it. I mean, anybody in the chat, they can't see it. This is a screenshot though, but that's why I said they want to see the actual link. You know what I mean? Just in case
I'll put it in the chat real quick.
I mean, put the link in the chat too. This is from the dictionaries of out of Scotland, UK. You know what I mean? So, people be debating about this term, Moorish, Moor, Morian. You can see all the different variations of it right there. You know what I mean? But as it says there, you see where it's the adjective. You know what I mean? Right there. It's a Moorish, of Moorish race. So some people that might not know, the Moorish race, yeah. B, dark, swarthy. Oh, then there's a C, there's a noun. Funny enough, it goes back to that. That's the little N. Anybody tell me if I'm tripping. Noun would be the adjective of they're describing the noun, and those people are considered Moor, Blackamoor, and Negro of that Moorish race who are considered dark and swarthy. I don't know if there's anybody out there in the chat while we wait for Lee to pull up, think this is not accurate while we wait for some folk.
I know we had, before we even got it started, my boy came in, Hayden, what'd he say? He say, all that info history is good. Where is the plan for our injuries and harm done to us some 450 years? Look, reparations or death. Bro is tripping, or World War III. Man, listen, Anthony, I want you to know something, bro. Because this is real easy. Y'all boys be on here talking real big, and everything you saying is founded on some bullshit. This is why history is important. Because I can tell by this statement, you got no idea what you're talking about, bro. Maybe that's why you should be paying attention to some more history before you get out here and get yourself hurt, fucking around with some big dogs. Because these people gonna mess over you if that's your understanding of history, my boy.
He got a lot of hate in his heart because he's been misinformed.
You talking crazy. You ain't finna start no war with nobody. Cut it out, bro.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat though. We just building up everything before Lee get in here. Mac, what you want to take to something else, bro?
I mean, I really just, I was just trying to let that sit marinate. If anybody in the chat was gonna say something about it. Anybody in the chat got anything to say about that though?
I mean, we've definitely heard some people say they want to disagree with the swarthy, but we don't never get them live action. So
yeah, I mean, I just wanted to, say, put it there for you. This is from UK. It's from Scotland. This is Scotland's. See what I'm saying? Dictionary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
King James VI of Scotland. You know what I'm talking about? So I just wanted to know what people thought. I just wanted to, let that sit there. You know what I mean? Because some people be going crazy and they be putting their opinions on it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
On Sunday with 9 Ether coming up, we're going to do I got some shit. I got a couple volumes. I got 2 out of the 3 volumes dealing with the Moorish race in Europe. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole 3 volumes on it. It's very interesting. I ain't going to lie. Obviously that's not going to be the major topic of the conversation, but I'm going to bring up some things because it relates to some things Buddy brought up just a minute ago, Prince Hall and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? The African Lodge. Yeah. Etymologies and shit. Shout out to Miss Angela. You know what I mean? We were just talking about this, I think, yesterday, with the terms and etymology of African and Native, and and being how that relate to a census, you know what I mean? And statuses, you know what I mean? And how you fit in when it comes to heritage, genealogy, families, etc. You know what I mean? So, like I said, man, let me see what it is, man. Is there what's the next one I sent you though?
Hold on real quick.
Let me see something. I'm trying to save myself, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm talking about? I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I'd rather wait so it can flow the right way. But you know how that be. Lee be on Chicago time.
Yeah, my boy on that.
He texting me and all, I'm like, bro, you.
My boy on that free people of color time, you hear me?
Hold on, quick. Let me hit him.
Yeah. All right, y'all know how we do. Quick commercial break. We're going to get right back to it. Man, shout out to you. Shout out to Quint, man. Bro, been showing a lot of love. Definitely appreciate it. A lot of y'all in here, razzle dazzle, Dorville, what he say? No African country makes weapons of mass destruction. Yes. But it's even beyond that. We just, a lot of these folks, they calling them black supremacists now. You hear me? Coming out here trying to rile the people up with all this talk about going to war. Ain't never been to war in their life. But trying to rile the people up with no type of plan. And anybody trying to talk about some real history, they want to distract from the point. But we ain't ducking nothing, man. We ain't them type of cats. It's a different type of energy over here. But soon as I said that, the OG popped up. So we got Lee Cummings in the building. He must have heard the bat signal, you hear me? So we got Lee Cummings, we got Maggie here. Let me get everybody pulled up. All right, hold on. There we go.
What's up, guys?
I'm texting
What's going on, brother?
The Three Musketeers.
We back. What do you say?
What's
Salute
good?
To y'all boys. Salute to you too.
Good. Salute to you
Appreciate
too, bro. Peace to everybody once again, man.
Hey Lee, let me show you something real quick before you came.
Let's see, show you.
Hold on, what she say?
Got some cornbread here. Hold on, go ahead, guys.
Oh, my boy, I always got the good food ready.
Man, I'm straight NG.
Look what she say here, Lee.
Hey, man, praise God, right?
You already know. So hold on. Let's go ahead and get to it then. Mac, it's on you, bro. However you want to run it.
I mean, well, I know he's gonna go into the Southern Gate, and I know he's touched on. Obviously, we've talked about the 13 colonies, which he's obviously in his series covered to give us that missing link. The French, the Spanish, and the Portuguese. So I want to show something to Lee, and then like kind of like to set up so everybody can get the engine running. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I sent you the requiremento of 1510. Okay. We just talked about it on Sunday. I want to I got something for the French. I got something for Spain. I got something for Portugal. You know what I'm talking about? All dealing with what we would call a slave trade documents and stuff, right? I think this is the one we read on Sunday, and I think we have the picture that me and God showed, which is the auction piece that sold for like 20 grand. You can show that right after.
Okay,
we can do that right after because that's just a picture, right? So now we read this again, and this is just dealing with the Southern Gate in my mind when Lee brought it up as the title, slave trade, and what it's tied to. So that little small part right there in 1510, and for anybody that missed what we talked about on Sunday, tied to the same document. It says requirement in English was written in 1510 by the Council of Castile to be read aloud as an ultimatum to the conquered Indians in the Americas. It asserted the religious authority of the Roman Catholic Pope over the entire earth and the political authority of Spain over the Americas, except Brazil. From 1493, the papal bull that divided the Western Hemisphere between Spain and Portugal, it demanded that the conquered peoples accept Spanish rule and Christian preaching or risk subjugation, enslavement, and death. Often the requirement was read in Latin to the Indians with no interpreters present. What you want to say, Lee?
But they had to convert to what? Christianity.
Right.
What form of Christianity?
Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey man, the Catholic Church, they've done a lot throughout history to hurt other nations and other peoples. But I really want you to say that because this Roman Catholic Christianity is what our people are practicing in the black churches. They just don't know it. The black churches, they do everything that the Catholics do. That's all. I just want to insert that.
All right, bet. And well, obviously, it lets you know subjugating Spanish invaders. So that's Spain and Portugal. They're obviously the first ones to what they call in their narrative of the Roman Catholics, Pope and the papal bulls being passed as just the new world, and people get confused with that because it ain't nothing new. But slide down a little bit, a couple paragraphs down, and let the people catch that part too. Because in 1510, they're kind of letting you know, because this is taking place in the Americas. I think it's a little bit more down right there where it says, and he commanded. You can start right there.
All right.
Yeah. And it says, matter of fact, go up a little bit more. Go to
up
that paragraph.
some.
We can read into it. Yeah, I can read into it. Someone will get no one confused. Right there, right there. All right, it says, of all these nations, God our Lord gave charge to one man called Saint Peter, that he should be Lord and superior of all the men in the world, that all should obey him, and that he should be be head of the whole human race, wherever men should live, and under whatever law, sect, or belief they should be. And he gave him the world for his kingdom and jurisdiction.
No, he didn't. Hey, that's false. That's false doctrine.
Okay.
The Lord left. This is some slick. I almost cursed. But we gotta pretend to be professional like all the other Vicks out here, right?
It's T10. That's what they saying in the document now.
But that's why we're here, so that the people understand this great lie. He's talking about the Apostle Peter. When Yeshua / Jesus, right before he went back to the third heaven, he left Peter in charge of what? Not the world. He left Peter in charge of the Hebrew Israelite church. Why am I saying this? At this particular time, there was no Roman Catholic Church. There was no Baptist. There was no Apostolic, no Church of God in Christ, no Sanctified, none of them churches that y'all familiar with. It was only the church called Israel. So he was left in charge of the church, not the world. That's a lie. And
okay, that part. Okay.
Yeah, but the reason they're saying that is
because
this Pope is trying to justify his ideology of ruling the entire world.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
That's a lie right there. But go ahead.
Well, I agree. So basically, what you're saying is what they're doing with this time frame of the 1510 requiremento in the Pope and is inserting himself with these crowns, which is Spain and Portugal, to say that they have the jurisdiction over the authority of their religious creed to say, hey, anybody that's not with us, y'all gonna be underneath us, because now underneath the victor of Christ, Peter, going into Paul, the popes and them, and now they're over everybody, so to speak. Is what they're saying.
They're doing. They're drawing. The popes are trying to draw their lineage from the Apostle Peter. So what they basically saying in their literature is that after Peter died, the Vatican took over the church. But if anybody that knows Scripture knows that the Lord said, separate me the sons of Levi, and the stranger that draweth nigh shall be put to death. This thing was given to Israel. And you can see that there's but I don't want to get into that because, we got a good thing going in this town. Let's shut it down. But there's some things we have to talk about. We have to talk about it in private. That church is very powerful, man.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
You want to see how powerful they are? Martin Luther King went down there, and the Pope Pius, I think his name was Pope Pius, kissed Martin Luther King, and within a year he was dead. That's where you get that phrase from, that term, the kiss of death.
The kiss of death, yeah.
Run that. And every king, and all the kings and the presidents, even this current president had to go down and kiss the ring.
Yeah.
Only one of them didn't kiss the ring. Guess what his name is?
Teflon Don.
Putin. Putin didn't kiss the ring.
Gangster.
Yeah, right. Hey, dude. I want to give him some props, but they ain't gonna like that, so I can't. Sorry, Putin.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir.
No, you good, man. No, but I was texting somebody real quick. My bad. The whole thing is on the next paragraph, and we just can move on where it shows that he commanded him to place his seat in Rome as the spot most fitting to rule the world from, but also he permitted him to have his seat in any other part of the world and to judge and govern all Christians, Moors. It says Muslims, but another term I found is Saracen, Jews, Gentiles, and all other sects. This man was called Pope, as if to say Admiral, Great Father, and Governor of men. The men who lived in that time obeyed that Saint Peter and took him for Lord, King, and Superior of the universe. So also they have regarded the others who after him have been elected to the pontificate.
Hold on. Dude,
Yeah.
Dude, who wrote this?
Go back to the top now. Go back to the top.
This, man? This is full of lies.
I'm going to line as far as the thing. I'm talking, this ain't King James. This is the requiremento that they did dealing with the document coming from Castile. See, it says it here.
Okay, hold
requiremento was written in 1510 by the Council of Castile, which is Spain, basically.
All right, let's do this. Let's see what year did King Henry VIII?
King Henry VIII?
King Henry VIII. This is King Henry VIII. Guess what his he was born 1491 and he died 1547. King Henry VIII broke off his relationship with the Vatican, the Catholic Church, and he denounced the Pope. King James VI of Scotland, who became King James the First of England, told his son Charles I, "Don't eat with a Pope, don't marry a Catholic." He said, "and don't pray with them." So they denounced, and then King Charles II, King James' grandson, put a hit out on the Pope, the Archduke, the Archbishops, all of them. You can find that, all of you, if you're listening to me, in the introduction page of the 1611 King James Bible. It is right there in the bowels of that intro where King Charles put a hit out on the Pope and the Presbytery. This is real history. So guess what? All your Bibles, Big Mama, Big Daddy, your grandparents, that little preacher down at that Sunday church, they are all missing the introduction to the King James Bible, and they don't even know it. That's right. King Henry, bro. We kick statistics at the same time that this is going on. And dude is claiming to be king of the whole world. It's these popes, the kings of Scotland and England, rejected him.
Right.
Hey, so me listening to both of y'all, right? So I think I understand the connection then, right? So check it. We know Catholic Church, they beefed out, the Pope them beefing out with King James, Henry, all of them.
Right.
So this requiremento, this was a part of the fight for America, the rush for America. So the Pope them, they got over here first. So this is why when you first, right, Lee, you can tell people whatever. They don't know the truth. So this is their way to fight for America. But then King James and them come with a different law that they laying down through their church, which was through that Bible.
That's right.
So the Pope would say they was lying. Depending on who you ask, they would say the other side is lying, but it proved both sides of it really.
But let me ask you,
was beefing.
Let me ask you, but let's play the advocate.
Okay.
The one church, which is the Catholic Church, came in and enslaved the people and stole their lands.
Correct.
The other church is a church you don't even hear the name being whispered ever. It's called the Anglican Church, Anglica. The Anglican Church was the church that King James them belonged to. Mm-hmm. They had their own thing. That church came in here and did what? Bought land.
Yep. Did business.
Married the Indian daughters.
Yeah.
And what? And taught them Christianity. So which one of the two churches was the real law in those days? It was the Anglican Church, bro.
Yep. They just ended up getting superseded with that, like you just said, the black church now, they operating like Roman Catholics. Because
they don't even know it. You don't believe it? Hey, bro, you ever be in the hood and you see one of the brothers or a sister, they call themselves ministers, and they got a Catholic collar? I always ask the question, bro, what's the name of your church? Well, I go to something Missionary Baptist Church. I said, well, you do know the Baptists are Protestants. I said, you're a Protestant. He said, what? I said, your church protested the infallibility of the Pope. Didn't you know that, minister? So how you going to be a Baptist Protestant, Apostolic Protestant, Church of God in Christ Protestant, and be walking around with a Catholic collar? You can't be both.
So you're going to make a lot of people mad now, Lee.
Listen, man, this the truth channel, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a fact.
That's all we about.
Yeah,
Baptist is Protestant.
Yeah.
So go back home. If you out there, go back home. Tell Big Mama there's a rat on the land.
Mm-hmm.
White or black, it don't matter in that kind of situation. However they want to play it. If they want to say, oh, they black or they all white, it don't matter, because Protestant and Baptist are connected, and they definitely was going against the Roman Catholic situation. So.
You cannot be a Protestant and be a Catholic. You can only be, you could be one. It's like you can't be a gangster disciple and a Stone. You either one of the two. You can't be a Democrat and a Republican.
I never understood it myself.
You can't walk with Jesus and walk with Satan. And you can't do it.
However you want to break it down.
You can't be a pimp Monday. You can't be a pimp Monday through Saturday and then be a pastor on Sunday. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I'm about to say, because it's a new day now.
Come on now, this is a new era. Have you seen they clone Tyrone? Hey, Monte, you can show him that picture though, real quick of this time frame too, real quick, and then we can keep it moving. I just wanted to kind of. This is though the Castile.
That's a cold piece though, Mac.
Yeah, Castile. That's Spain. Before it was called Spain, the Castile. The Council of Castile. It didn't say the Council of Spain. It said the Council of Castile, which is known for Spain with Aragon coming to connect it. And this is my other joint right here. This is we showed this before too, but this is the Southern Gate. So it's a couple of documents. I'm like, I'm gonna throw them around. Would you let me? I knew you were gonna give me some sauce. You know what I'm talking about? So this document right here. This is a Spanish Inquisition, as it says underneath, on the American continent, Mexico City, 1650. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a proof document that what they did in 1510 was still going on in 1650 within whatever territories that Castile, Aragon, now known as Spain, New Spain, had going on. And this document is sold for a lot of money, 15, 20 grand. Somewhere in there, something like that. So I wanted to just show it, you know what I'm saying? Because this official document, you know what I mean? Like, you can, matter of fact, give them the link though, because not the link, but if you click off of it, so it can give them the context of. Look at that right there, where it says Spanish Inquisition of the American continent. Then it's a directive to report Marranos secretly practicing Judaism with description of Jewish customs. So. They're letting you know that some people might call Negroes. Spanish Inquisition of the American continent, Mexico City, 1650, directive to report Marranos secretly practicing Judaism with description of Jewish customs.
Okay, well let's run this one. That's what we say. Let's run it.
Run it.
Where did the Marranos come from?
Spain, Portugal. And obviously those who went into West Africa.
Right. Hey, you know what this is. Hey, the cover up is real, right? Right now, the History Channel done joined the fight. You know we did that? I want y'all to hear this. You know we did that piece? And we brought in Benjamin Franklin, his observations of mankind. Do you know a Gentile / Anglo-Saxon / white man? A white historian came behind us last week and did a piece on Benjamin Franklin's observation of mankind, and went right, and he checked this out, yo, and he went right past the swarthy part, didn't mention it, and did his little thing. I said, look at these cats.
That's crazy.
They following us.
That's crazy, bro.
Then hey, I'm because I'm surfing YouTube. Then another cat, another Anglo-Saxon. I like these adjectives. Bear with me. Another Anglo-Saxon / white European / Gentile / white historian came behind us and said that the Indians were white. They were not black. Man. I said, man, we putting that work in. You know what I'm saying? So what we're telling you guys on the internet, y'all be mindful that, you know, you got wheat and tares. You got good grass and you got weeds. The weeds on the internet, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
They watching us, y'all.
Oh yeah.
What are the odds that they would come behind a week and a half later and do a piece on the History Channel on Benjamin Franklin and then not mention the blackness in the essay?
Yeah, because it ain't much content out there when you look about the observations of mankind covering the swarthy part. So that's very interesting. Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, they add us.
That's crazy.
Hey, it's all good though. It's
Yeah.
hey, we showing our sources and just going through it. You know what I mean? I know if anybody go look at what that Morano is being described as, they'd be described like that other term, moraine, you know what I'm saying? Moraine, like Swarthy, Negro,
but that's
Blackamoor.
that's the same
Yeah, I
word
know
as
that.
but that's an offshoot from the word more.
Exactly.
That's the same word.
That's
you know,
that's
the
what I
letter
was
A
saying.
and the letter A and the letter O is always interchangeable in
Interchangeable.
translation, bro.
Yeah,
So
facts.
a Morano and a Moor is one and the same. It's describing what? Black folks.
Period. But that's what the Spanish were calling people over here in the Americas, in the
I got
territories
another. Hey, before
that
we
they
get
had.
into the piece,
You know what
I
I'm
got
talking
another. I want to raise a hypothetical situation.
Go ahead.
Allegedly, all these slaves came into the Americas. Where the ships manifest?
Okay, it's funny you say that.
Where the
Get to
slave?
that.
Hey, hey,
Yeah,
they
go
got
ahead,
all
Monte.
this.
Go ahead.
They got all this radar imaging. Okay, where are these slave ships that were supposed to allegedly sunk on the bottom of the ocean floor, the Atlantic
Lee,
Ocean floor?
it's crazy you asked that. Let's give them the answer.
These people was already here, man.
Yeah. So the Pan-Africans, this is one of their go-to websites. But like how Pan-Africans do, they don't really study, they just regurgitate. So this website is very well put together. I'm gonna give them credit for that. The boy Henry Louis Gates and all his cronies, they went and scrubbed all the manifests that are available, right?
Right.
So to your question, Lee, if there's a whole bunch of African ships and stuff that embarked, we should be able to find them records the same way we can find it in Europe. So we was doing a little dig. We've done this multiple times, right? So I'm going to show you. This is slavevoyages.org. I'm going to put it in the chat when I finish this. So slavevoyages.org. If you go to Transatlantic, that's the one they say he was a part of, right, Lee?
Right.
Okay. And we hit the database. And anybody who come follow behind this, you can come do the same thing. You got it on recording on what to do. So from here, this is basically a very advanced spreadsheet. Anybody who helped you'll know what I'm saying. If not, just pay attention. So you go here, we're going to put some filters on. So I hit itinerary. I'm going to say the place of the vessel's departure. All right. Now we're going to start off with Africa. No, matter of fact, we're going to start with Europe. Okay. We start with Europe. I'm going to apply that. Okay. And then it's going to update and it's going to show us how many. So the amount of voyages, not people, that means the amount of ships that they got manifest for coming from Europe is 17,807. Now, the African number, you would think going to be way more than this, right, Lee? Because if this many came,
hey, man,
okay,
it's got to be in the millions.
I bet. So you saw what I just did. So now I'm going to do Africa. Now, y'all put your seatbelt on.
Hold on.
Let's say 185.
You lying.
Somebody lying.
They got to be lying, man. Because look,
you see that?
We got the ships manifest coming out of Europe with the Jacobites. We got a description. We got first, last name, the age, description of these black Scots and these black Brits, right? They should have the same exact thing coming out of Africa. They don't possess it.
It's really just that simple. Because if they did, it would be here because, so look at these years. Right here, it's showing you 1820. They got the latest. And then if we go to opposite, the earliest is 1584. So you had the Pan-African, oh man, it ain't no records. They ain't had no ship manifest. Clearly they did. There's just not a whole bunch of them. And this is from Africa going anywhere. So we just did more than just the Americas. We did to any voyages that they got manifest for coming out of Africa. And it only came with 185.
That's not enough people to justify 100.
Guess what else, Lee?
Crazy.
Let me blow this up because I know it's a little small. Hold on. I want people to see this. It tell you the amount of people on the ships, Lee. Look right here. What did it say? 242. 230, 104. Come on now. Now I ain't no mathematician, but if you add that up,
yeah, that's not gonna be millions. That's not gonna equal no 100 million.
Not gonna work.
So what does that tell you? That tells you that the indigenous people were what? They was already here.
Deep.
That part. Deep.
It just makes the most sense.
in the double-digit millions.
Yes.
Check this out. I want to show y'all something right quick since we
All
had.
right. You gonna share screen?
Yeah, let me see. I gotta click on present, right? Share screen.
Yeah,
Man, when I first started doing this with y'all, I used to be bugging.
Yeah.
You know? Like, hey man, I think he's trying to sabotage. Dudes on some sabotage.
I remember that shit, bro.
Sabotage. I'm like, hey man, like, can you see my screen?
No,
hold on, let me see if it popped
though.
up yet. I think it's still coming. Hold on.
Let me make sure
I don't see it yet. Yeah, make sure you hit present on there. I don't see it yet.
I did. I think I did. See, I just talked about myself, didn't I?
Yep.
There he is.
There you go. I see it.
Now check this map out. Now it's funny that we're having this conversation. This map right here is dated back to. This map is dated to 1723. You see that this is an authentic map, and you know what it's called. Now the spelling is totally different from the spelling that we are accustomed to in this generation. So it says crooning, which is crowning of the king, Koning, or the king of what? Judah. So this is a map from West Africa that shows these black Hebrew Israelites or these Hebrews on the west coast of Africa, what they commonly call the slave coast. Now check this out. I want to show you one more map because I don't want you to think that this is an accident. These guys, everybody knows that on those ships, of the ships that made it, these Hebrews was on the ship. You see this map right here? You sharing this?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
Now check this out. Y'all see that?
Oh yeah.
Now you see this one. You see what they call the slave coast right here? Where my cursor is? Look what the name.
Yellow highlight.
Look at the original name of the area, the Kingdom of Judah.
Yep.
So we got so the slaves that came into the southern gate. Remember what he read, Mac read initially about the Pope saying that if they didn't practice Christianity, these people, these Sargans could be, or Saracens could be what? Enslaved, their property confiscated.
The requiremento.
So who was these people that didn't practice Christianity? It was these brothers right here.
Right.
These Hebrews or these Hebrew Israelites, Judah, was sold into came by way of the southern gate, and we got another book that was written, I guess, published by Louisiana State University that says 464 ships. A ship came from Judah, dropping 464 slaves off at the mouth of the Mississippi. So it's documented in their history books. Now, the Hebrews were the minority in the Americas. Technically.
Right.
But now the question.
That's exact. It's a fact. Minority. They're the minority.
You were the minority.
Being brought into
but
the
a lot of
they're not the majority.
But a lot of the brothers that was here, we know that these brothers, these Indian tribes were Hebrew Israelites, because you got a tribe. There was a tribe called the Shawnee tribe, right?
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it? Shawnee?
Yep.
Shawnee.
But Shawnee, guess what? In Aramaic, Shawnee means year or years. That's an Aramaic word. And all these Indians had on fringes. There was only one group of people on the planet that were instructed, that were commanded to wear fringes. That was Israel. White boys say the Indians were white. And I said to myself, you must have forgot about the $5 poll tax, buddy.
Right.
Where they could pay $5 and reclassify themselves as Indians, knowing that they was white. This is crazy what's going on in this country historically.
Don't make no sense. They getting away with murder, saying whatever they want to say.
So let's get to the facts. Now you bring in Mac brought in the Spanish and the Portuguese. But let's look at something right quick. let's go and look at what would we have a list of the slave states in the South?
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean,
we can get that.
shoot, we can get that.
Let's try. Well, guess what? Guess who has it? I do.
You do.
Oh, my boy, ready? Yeah.
I had to set y'all up. Hey,
Yeah.
that was a setup question. I already
No,
had
we
the
can
answer.
get that now. Yeah.
All right, look. This is a list of the slave states: Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Georgia, and Kentucky. Guess what all these states have in common?
What's that?
Mississippi was owned by the French, was colonized by the French. Alabama, colonized by the French. Arkansas, colonized by the French. Florida had Spanish already, had the Spanish had Florida all the way up to 1788. Texas, colonized by the French. Tennessee, Spain and France. Georgia, King George, the British.
1735.
And then Kentucky was colonized by the French. Now, why don't you all these slave states in the South were owned by the French and the Spanish? Well, could you do us a favor? I know this might be redundant and we might be beating a dead horse, but we need Benjamin Franklin's essay.
Hi.
Because until they stop this move,
yeah,
slant across the middle of the field, we're gonna slant all day.
All day.
We're gonna keep running the same play, Joe Montana.
Yeah, I got something after that. Since you
feeling me on this? So the French owned, they colonized all of these southern slave states, right? I think it's Article 24.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
we did this thing so many times, I know it by heart.
Muscle memory, man.
All right, whoever feel like it, read it.
Hey, I got you. Hold on.
Yeah.
It says, which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. All Africa is black or tawny. Asia, chiefly tawny. America, exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes.
Oh, no, we ain't got to read the rest of it. So in Europe, he said what? The French and the Spanish was what? They black. Now,
correct.
Now, we don't want you all, people like, oh, man, they running the scam. We're going to run the scam a little further because the fix is in. We're going to ask Brother Mac if he got his dictionary. In fact, let me share this page right quick.
All right.
Because I already got it. At least I think I do. If I don't, shame on me, right? Yeah, here it is. What page is it? Page 92, Brother Mac. Why don't you read that? We want to see now. Benjamin Franklin, 1751, said that the French and the Spanish was what? Swarthy. We just read all the slave states to you. 98% of them was owned by the French, bro. That means that the French colonists and the French slave masters was what? We're gonna show you what Swarthy was in 1788. Go ahead, Mac. That's on page 92 of your book.
Oh, Swarthy.
Yep. And they can see it.
You see it?
Oh yeah.
So read the dictionary.
I'll read it though.
All right, the dictionary was written by Samuel Johnson in 1788. Yes. And guess what? Slave trade didn't end for almost another 100 years, right?
Right.
So this dictionary definition of swarthy was the same definition that they was using during slavery times. Go ahead.
Okay, so where it says right after that, it says the ancient Brits, Scots, Irish, Germans, Spanish, French, Dutch, Italians, and Russians were swarthy.
But I want to read right above it. I want to read the definition. You see right above where it gives the definition of swarthy from that dictionary. Yeah, let me help you out. I'll present since I got it already up. All right, y'all got that? Pull me up.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, you see it? Now I'm gonna read. I read. Hey guys, You'd be surprised. You know I can read.
Yeah, you can read pretty good.
I should read more, right? I know. Swarth. Okay, swarth. In Dutch, black, darkly brown, tawny. Oh, so tawny means the same thing, huh? Because Benjamin Franklin said they was what? Swarthy and tawny.
Yep.
Okay, the next definition is to swart, to blacken. Oh, give somebody a swarthy eye, right? Swarthily, blackly, duskly, or tawny. So in 1788, running parallel with the slave trade is the definition of Benjamin Franklin's word swarthy, and Benjamin Franklin, he meant black. Think about this. Benjamin Franklin used this word in 1751. 37 years later, the definition had not changed. 1788.
Yep.
Y'all with me?
Oh yeah.
So now, so the question is, what am I driving at? The slave masters in the slave states, they was black.
It just is what it is.
I know it's. I want to read y'all something. Check this out. The Southern Gate. In Louisiana, there was a widow by the name of C. Richmond. She had a large sugarcane plantation. She had this one black woman owned 152 slaves. And also in Louisiana, there was a black slave master by the name of Antoine Dablouchet. You know that straight French.
Oh yeah.
He's a brother. He had 100 slaves. How can a Negro own slaves in the South? That don't even make no sense, do it, man? Unless what? Unless they was all black.
It just is what it is.
Check this out. North Carolina. 69 free blacks owned slaves. Anthony Johnson owned blacks. He owned blacks and white slaves.
Yep. Shout out Maroon J.
And in 1654, he sued his white neighbor to return one of his black slaves. 1767, a Frenchman by the name of Claude Thomas of Louisiana owned slaves. He had a tobacco jar. I could do this all night, but I'm just trying to make y'all understand how.
I hope they get the point.
I'm trying to make y'all understand how stupid these people think we are, that the slave trade was going on and that Negroes could own slaves in the South. The only way black folks could own slaves in the South is that the black folks was the what? The slave owners of the South, and they were the original colonists in the South, the French and the Spanish and the Dutch.
Yep.
The narrative is whacked.
Yeah, it's being spun. It's being spun.
Yeah.
It just
ain't hard to,
huh?
It ain't hard to go and realize that it's just a lie. All you gotta do is look it up, bro. It ain't hidden.
The Southern Gate was owned by what? Man, the black Frenchmen were that. But you look at the cruelty of the black Frenchman and that black Spaniard, they was cruel, man. But them was brothers. And then there's a I don't want to tip my hand because we might do this one at a later date. But there's documentation where the brothers owned white slaves. And the white scholars know this. The white scholars know this because the slave masters was black. They was bringing in the poor whites. They did not discriminate.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we're going to get some pushback on this. And I want you to, because I always save a card or two.
It's funny you say that. We got a brother part of the party named Maroon J. His whole thing is white slavery. He been digging into white slavery.
That dude is
exactly
right.
what you
That dude told the truth.
Mm-hmm.
See, but
plenty of proof out there.
But the hybrid Negro or the hybrid man, the so-called Negro, he can't wrap himself around the any truth that has him either equal with this white man or above this white man. He always sees himself intellectually at the kneecap or the foot of this white man.
Mm-hmm.
He got a boss. He don't even look the boss. He don't even look his boss in the eye. He got a manager. He holds his head down when the man is talking. You look that man in the eye. What's wrong with you? I had a job one time long time ago. They said, I was a gangster back in the say, you gang banging on the job? I say, hey, man, we just kidding. So they bring me in, like, rush me in the office like it's a national emergency. We was throwing up gang signs in downtown Chicago. So the white man just says, I know, right? I was tripping. So the white man just says, have a seat. I said, nah, I'd rather stand. He said, have a seat. I said, listen, man, whatever you got to say to me, say it to me standing up. What's wrong? He said, you're making me nervous. I said, I'm sorry you feel that way. I had just started coming into this understanding of what a free Negro was, a free man was. A free man, he could say no. Am I right?
Yeah.
Free man look you in your eye when he talk to you, not menacing, not adversarial, but hey, I'm a strong black man. How can I help you? They fired me from that job. They said we cannot have Nat Turner. Yeah. We cannot have Nat Turner teaching these other Negroes how to be free.
Mm-hmm.
That's a true story, bro.
My boy say he's standing on all 10 toes. He's on all 10 at all times.
Bro, on everything, right? On everything. See, this is what they've done to us. They have dropped this religion into the black community. What does religion do? Religion has it re-enslaved us. They're using religion in the United States the same way that the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank is using these loans to re-enslave Africa. So this religion that we have in the United States, it ain't work. It ain't. Look at our communities.
Yeah. Check out the fruit that it bears.
It's almost like a Ponzi scheme. The only person that's benefiting from religion is the pastor.
Yeah, it ain't almost like no Ponzi scheme. It is.
That is religion. Now I have to slide this on you. I don't want the Lord to get mad at me. So I got to slide this on you. There is a true concept of holiness and knowing the living God. But that thing that they practicing in them churches, our people are living in abject poverty. Have y'all seen some of the slums and the ghettos in these different cities?
They look bad, bro.
It's creepy, ain't it, man? It's like the night of the living. Hey, man, we live in the night of the living dead in some of these cities.
I'm from Louisiana. My whole state look like that.
Dude, I be moving around the ghetto, you know. So I go to cut the grass. I got a gun in my pocket.
You're
not gonna get me while I'm cutting this grass. Hey, you think I'm playing? Real talk.
No, he don't. Hey, you always talking to me like that too. Like he always paranoid. You know what I'm talking about?
Bro, I'll be on my way to church. I got a Bible in one hand and a pistol. They be like, "Boy, you come Clint Eastwood, bro."
You on that turn of time for real? You heard me?
Hey man, this is how we live it.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the subject matter.
I got a joint for you real quick since you brought up the French.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? I just want to show this French joint. Guess I was gonna show a little from each one of the slave states. See, so France and the slave trade. You know what I mean? It's just a quick little.
That's love, though.
You know, just so anybody can, the book they got about it, the death of the French Atlantic trade. Gives you the time frames and stuff, but the chapter begins with the short overview of France involvement in the. Oh, you moving fast, Monte?
Oh, my bad.
I'm trying to read that part right there.
Yeah,
right there, that blue part.
Right.
Involvement in the Atlantic slave trade. It shows how by the second half of the 18th century, more and more merchants and investors became dazzled by the profits offered by a successful slave voyage. All the Atlantic ports engaged in the slave trade through Nantes and had the highest level of slaving and the greatest dependence on triangular trade with West Africa and the Caribbean. The economic of the slave voyage are analyzed, as well as the cargoes purchased for the trading in Africa, the captain's involvement in slave markets in both West Africa and the Caribbean, the risk by the slave ships and their crews during the voyage, and the conditions that were endured below deck during the Middle Passage. So it's tied to definitely France. That word of Frenchy, you
Hey,
know what I
bro.
mean? Freedmen and all that good terms.
They
come from
capping.
Go ahead, let them on.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you why.
I read this. Give it to
So this is what I'm almost positive on this theory, and I can prove it. But check this out. Since we know France and them was black, right? And Lee, we did a bill called the Mississippi Money Trail, where France was the first one to control the whole of the Mississippi River. They was the first ones to sell it, but they did it with the help of the Indians. They had a joint stock company in Europe that was booming called the Mississippi Company. But the Bank of England bankrupted them basically and took their whole play. And then right after that, I think what I'm getting at is I think that they put slavery on Great Britain, France, all the ones with the black Europeans to basically denigrate their name, to say that they was taking Africans over here, when really they was the first ones to do good business, and they got it taken away from the Pope and them when they got in control with the Bank of England and all that other shit.
Because the thing is, bro, the Lord is using you tonight, because that leads us into the next move, the next drill. We need to somebody to pull up the peace treaty, the Paris Peace Treaty of 1783.
All right, hold on.
Pull up the Paris. We're gonna show you. We're gonna prove to all of you people that's out there today that the British did not own the slave states. Y'all sitting on the other end thinking, man, they tripping. No, we not tripping. The French, the Spanish, and the Dutch were involved in the slave trade, not the British. Go all the way down to article where it says the first article at the bottom. You'll see where it says the first article. It's gonna list you see where it says article, the first article?
Yep, hold on, blow it up.
Yeah, read that to the people, because King George is gonna he's gonna tell you out of his own mouth which colonies or states he owned. He ain't gonna mention none of the southern states. Go ahead, watch this.
Article first, His Britannic Majesty acknowledges the said United States, viz. New Hampshire, Massachusetts Bay, Rhode Island, and Providence Plantations, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia.
Now, Georgia, hold on. Now, Georgia, we know Georgia was initiated into the slave trade by King George. That's why it's called Georgia. King George I in 1752. But notice, all these states are on the what? The Eastern Seaboard.
Right.
So what
13 colonies.
Now, if you keep reading, you ain't gonna see what? You ain't gonna see Mississippi. He's saying, okay, y'all won. We giving up all our rights to all these states. But none of these states, you ain't gonna see Mississippi on that list. Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Texas, Georgia's on it, and Kentucky. Why? Because the British at that time did not own the southern slave states. People run around talking about England owes us reparations. No, man, you've been brainwashed.
Yeah.
Now check this out. So now that we've arrived at this little piece of history, when did the British purchase the slave states? In 1803.
Yeah.
It's called what? The Louisiana Purchase.
Correct.
And then 62 years later, what did they do? They abolished it.
Right. So they ain't have enough time. It's not possible.
They was not interested in being slave owners, man, because of the Magna Carta. Y'all understand what's happening here?
I hope they get it.
We were just talking about the Magna Carta on Sunday and the independence that they were breaking away from. So
this is how you do it. The French owe us money, man. The French owe us. The Spanish owe us. The Dutch, they owe us. The people owe us. Hey, Malcolm X, soul brother number one.
You don't like to be called Aborigines.
Malcolm X goes down to he tried to file suit at the UN against the European nations that was involved in the slave trade. Shortly after, he got the business. Why? Because France cannot afford to pay you. They bankrupt now. Why? Yeah. Because they just got kicked out of the Congo. Is it the Congo or Nigeria?
Just recently, France.
Yeah. They just got
three
kicked
different
out.
nations, the Mali, Burkina,
Right.
They all came together.
They can't rape the Congo or those nations have no more minerals. So they go right now. They got riots in Paris. All these nations, they going broke now.
They broke as hell. They hurting.
Trying to tell you, bro. They hurting. That's what I'm. Yeah, they hurting, bro. Hey, open up the question lines. Any questions?
Yeah, anybody out there that want to tap in, any questions?
Let's see, we got
statements.
We got a few. Hold on.
Go ahead.
So he say, let's see, Jason D. He say, I found out my family were landowners in the South, owned their own water rights with island. That was early 1800 in the Mississippi.
Hey, tell that brother they need to go back and challenge. They need to do the research and see if it was sold or taken.
Yep. Hey, Jason D. Look up Benjamin Montgomery, Mound Bayou, Mississippi.
Yeah,
you'll see a whole bunch of black landowners in Mississippi in the 1800s.
Man, what is this telling you, man?
I mean,
the narrative is a lie. Ain't no way in the world if the slave trade was moving like that and whites was enslaving blacks, that blacks could own slaves with this so-called boogeyman, the Ku Klux Klan in the South.
For real.
Okay, so we got let's see. So Razzle Dazzle, dang, that's the info I'm trying to find. What's the name of that? Oh, that's the Mississippi, I think, what do we call it? Mississippi Money Trail.
The Mississippi Money Trail.
Yeah, for that on our page.
Live.
And
we did that live on a Sunday.
Yeah. And then okay, here we go.
Razzle Dazzle.
Razzle Dazzle be tapped in. So check this out.
Go ahead.
Odarisha Creole, he from New Orleans. He say British involvement in the transatlantic slave trade began in 1562, and by the 1730s, Britain was the world's biggest slave trade nation. Cap.
No, bro.
That's going to be kind of William Orange and stuff like that. Ain't kind
no, that's that bad history.
Those are merchants.
Yeah,
that's that bad history that the establishment put out there to make you.
Yeah.
See, the idea is to make the white man appear to be this big gorilla,
superior. Correct.
Right. So what we simply saying you is go back and look at the information that we presented today. Come back next week, and then and we can go back and we'll present the information, and then you present the Bible says, come and let us reason together. But brother, that information, if the Scots, King James, then with the Magna Carta, made it illegal for the English and the British to be involved in the slave trade as early as 900 AD. So that's the reason why when the Jacobites came here in 1715 and 1745, they came as indentured servants. It was illegal.
If
So
you were here at the beginning of the video, we played that, literally talking about that exact thing. Lee, this was crazy.
The earliest date we could give the British for their involvement in slavery is 1803, the Louisiana Purchase.
Yep.
Go ahead. You got another one?
Hold on.
I got something.
Let's see if I got it right. This it right here, Matt?
Yeah, Library of Congress joint. Yeah.
You want the picture or you just what you want?
I want to go down into the Key West part first, real quick, because it's tied to the slave trade and certain things. And George Washington.
When to stop and I'll blow it up.
You can blow that up so people can see the map real quick.
All right, hold on. Let's see how it looks.
So they can get a little visual. Right where that map is, right underneath it, you see where it says the map of Mexico, Central America, and West Indies, right?
Yep.
So British, all the territories between the different groups will be, it's going to be laid out in this manner, right? Now see how they got the red and all that for a reason, color code. But underneath it, you can scroll down now. Now that you got it big, you scroll down a little bit. Let them see that May 19th, 1860, President James Buchanan issued a message to Congress. You can keep going down. Oh, is it there? No. Keep going down. It's right underneath this one.
I did some hellified artwork.
What?
No, right?
That shit look good.
No.
Yeah, but it says that's going to come to it. On May 19th, 1860, James Buchanan issued a message to Congress in response to the seizures in Key West. President Buchanan implored Congress to pass legislation standardizing an 1858 agreement he made with the American Colonization Society following the seizure of the slave vessel Echo. In this agreement, freed Africans were to be sent to Liberia. On May 23, 1860, the U.S. steamer Crusader seized the slaver Bugatti and subsequently arrived in Key West on May 25, 1860. Approximately 1,432 Africans were liberated from the slavers, and 295 Africans died due to diseases and the conditions of the slavers between June 30th and July 19th. Ships arrived in Key West to transport the Africans from Key West to Liberia. Now, you heard the American Colonization Society, right? All that, right? Now, you can come down. I want to make sure that's the historical part people might not know about, but you can go down a little bit more. Go down to where it goes into the paragraph of George Washington, where it's gonna keep going down a little bit more.
All right, here.
Yeah, is that it? Yeah, that's it. The now this is where interesting because how it says the contradiction in that paragraph. So I'll read above it so we can walk into it. It says in Key West, African Americans, whether free or not, face laws restricting their behavior. For instance, African Americans prohibited from being out or making any other kind of noise past 9 p.m. According to Florida Supreme Court Justice in Key West local Jefferson Bill Brown with the E, this law was created in 1832 by Key West First Town Council. Now, right underneath it, this contradiction of Key West restricting the African Americans while supporting the African freed from slavers is representative of the historic trend dating back to George Washington of viewing the slave trade as immoral instead of the system of slavery. George Washington, who owned enslaved people, expressed opposition to the slave trade as far back as the days leading up to the American Revolution. This exemplified by Washington's Fairfax Resolves, which he co-wrote with George Mason. Did you know about that, Lee? I never knew about this when I was thinking about this. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, because it makes a lot. No, it just makes a lot of sense that when we like how you said, because we get to the American Revolution, what the slave states had going on, what was going on in the time frame of the American Revolution, and how we've been walking it up, that they had people working for them in different indentured people that went to prison or caught charges, whatever different scenarios like that. But as far as them actually bringing people out of Africa, they didn't really have that kind of appetite within their concept of the Magna Carta and the revolutionary breaking away from Britain in the first place. What I'm seeing.
And if you on the run, how the hell you gonna take slaves? Think about this, bro. You leaving from Europe.
I want y'all. Go ahead. When you get through, I got something for you.
Nah, it just don't make sense. It's just that simple. If you on the run, if you being expelled from somewhere, you starting over fresh. You can't take slaves. I don't even. Where you gonna put them? You're not set up yet. Go ahead, Oli.
I want to share this screen with you guys.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Because we only here for one reason, bro. Clarity, right?
Yep.
We only here for clarity. You know, the Bible says, "Come." I always tell people this. Book say, "Come and let us reason together." I save me some. Say, "Come and let us reason together." I'm gonna show y'all a drill. If I got the thing up, let me see. I thought I had it up. Okay, I don't see it. Where are you? Oh, hold on. I have to do this. I have to click on it, right? Then come over here. Come over here.
And while you do that, on the research, he said, "Okay, I'm listening and we'll do my research." Thank you. It's all love, bro. We just
that's what we on, man. You know, like you go on them other pieces, them other joints, they curse each other out, yelling, screaming, acting a complete fool. We about one thing. We about setting the record straight, because the way we doing this, it's gonna make our children prouder. See, this is one of the problems that the children are having. They going to school and all they're hearing about is being slaves. That is a negative narrative. Now check this out. You see what I got? You got my screen up?
Oh yeah, hold on, I'm pulling it up now.
This is, and I want you all to make a note of this. This is Thomas Jefferson's original rough draft of the Declaration of Independence. And you're gonna see here that they complaining because King George in 1751, 1752 is legalizing slavery in Georgia, not the rest of the colonies, the British colonies, but Georgia was the first one in 1752. I want y'all to hear this. So in his rough draft, dude is like, hey man, this nigga's an evil prince.
Yeah.
He's enslaving these people. I want to read just a little of this. It says, he says, I don't want to read all that. I don't want to read that. I don't even want to read that. I want to go back and read the slavery part of the rough draft. Here it is right here. I'm going to pick it up. You see where it says and where I got my cursor?
Yeah.
It says, and accordingly, all experience have shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations begun at distinguished period and pursuing invariably the same object, events is designed to subject them to arbitrary power. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security, such as been patient sufferance of these colonies. And check this out. Of such is now the necessity which constrains them to expunge their former sense of government. The history of this present majesty is a history of unremitting injuries and usurpations, among which no one fact stands single or solitary to contradict the uniform tenor of the rest. So what he's talking about is this dude then brought slavery into the colonies. Now, if Thomas Jefferson and them were accustomed to having slaves, he wouldn't be complaining.
Correct.
Y'all feel me?
Yeah.
And they deliberately, and we'd have to read all this because I want to bring it in. I could bring it in if I could scan. Well, he say, man, dude that brought here it is right here. You see where I stopped at?
Yeah.
Now watch this. He has incited treasonable insurrections in our fellow subjects with the allurements of forfeiture and confiscation of our property. He has waged cruel war against human nature itself. He's talking about the slave trade, violating its most sacred rights of liberty in the persons of a distant people who never offended him, captivated, oh, that's slavery, and carried them into slavery in another hemisphere, or to incur miserable death in their transportation thither. That was the ships, right? This piratical warfare, the opprobrium of infidel powers, is the warfare of the Christian king of Great Britain. Determined to keep open the market where men should be bought and sold, he has prostituted his negative for suppressing every legislative attempt to prohibit or to restrain this execrable commerce. They was like, hey, dude, we trying to start. We don't want to be a part of this. You ain't never heard this before.
Nope.
Check this out. There was assemblage of horrors might want no fact of distinguished die. He is now exciting those very people. What people? The slaves. To rise in arms among us and to purchase that liberty which he has deprived them of, and murdering the people upon whom he also, y'all see what's going on here?
Yep.
So Thomas Jefferson, they ain't never read this to us. Y'all know that, right? You ain't never, a lot of the people online today didn't even know that there was a rough draft of the Declaration of Independence until today. And in this rough draft, it proves that the British were what? That the colonies were not involved in the slave trade.
That's real.
Hey.
Because you know what?
That's a showstopper, ain't it, bro?
You done dropped something, boy.
Yeah.
You know what, Lee? In that same link I just showed, down a little bit more, it says, while the Constitution protected the importation of enslaved people until 1808, President Washington signed the Slave Trade Act of 1794, which banned the exporting of enslaved people from the United States. The Slave Trade Act of 1800 was signed by President John Adams on May 10th of 1800.
So these white historians in America, Yale University, Princeton, Harvard, UCLA, all these major institutions that's pushing this white power narrative to our sons and our daughters and our family members. They don't get to see this kind of stuff. That's why I told y'all this is the new spot right here. We the new spot.
Yeah.
We should have called this. We should have called this light. Hey, we got anybody else?
Speaking of this, Razzle say, "Hey Lee, very grateful for your work."
Man, hey man, Razzle, love.
That's straight love.
What we say in Hebrew is for love. We say ahab, or ahab. Love. That's real talk. Goddamn, great love.
And we got let's see, a lot of supporting comments. Quint coming through, big facts. Let's see, and then Olarisha came back and said, "This is first time tuning in from New Orleans. Your page was on my timeline."
Yeah,
that's what's up, brother. Shout out to you, man. Keep coming back, man.
Straight up.
Let's see if we got any questions. Y'all come.
Any questions before we slide out of here tonight with this one?
Nah, bro. It's been really just commentary, no questions this time.
Hey, we had a situation though, Lee. You remember I put you on the phone with my man Amos, and he couldn't make it because he had a situation.
Yeah.
So he gonna come on the next one we do. You know what I'm saying? I told him I wanted him to always present it, but he still wanted me to, present something. So it was something that we talked about on that phone call. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Amos. Even though he couldn't make it, because I did send him a link to get on here. But remember that joint that he was talking to us about dealing with the visitation of Kent?
Yeah.
Now this is interesting because the whole 1619, and I know it's we ain't gonna stay too long, but people keep talking about that 1619 and obviously the 20 odd Negroes, that they say they brought in, then how the white line. Exactly. So prisoners of war and stuff like that, more of a situation. But the visitation of Kent, I sent it to you, Monte, if you don't mind. I just want to show that, and then I'm gonna save the rest for when he pulls up on us, because I want him to.
While I do this, we got something from Razzle. A question.
George III, last monarch.
Read it for Max so they can hear it in the video I sent it real quick.
All the from all the way up until probably all the way up to 1800. The kings of Europe were black, all of them. See the way they disposed of the truth or destroyed the truth. They came out with this myth that when they were burning all those books in Europe, that they were burning the books because of witches and warlocks. So that was the way. So that the attempt was to what? Destroy the truth, and that's what they did. And under the disguise of religion and witchcraft. That's how they did it.
Sound like a movie. No, but like, King James had demonology though.
No, he did. King James was a servant of the Most High, bro. And that boy had 9 babies, so he wasn't a homosexual either. I ain't seen a homosexual. Hey, you ever known a homosexual have 9 children?
I mean,
that's contradictory, ain't it?
It's very contradictory, but these days to go that deep, it's kind of hard to, But this is the preface of that book dealing with what's it called, the visitation of Kent. It's funny that it has that 1619 date. You know what I mean? Tied to it. It's banging.
I know. Yeah.
You made that. You eating at the same time. What you got over there?
I got roast potatoes. I got roast carrot, mashed potatoes. I got mustard greens with carrot. And I made that, right?
Yeah.
Bang it.
We ain't playing. Where you trying to get to, man?
Cornbread. Slide down a little bit. I'm trying to get to this part real quick.
Cornbread, man. I went straight southern.
Because I was trying to make that him. But basically, this is tied into with people that are coming into the Americas of the 13 colonies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's walking down the visitation of, Kent and how these people are coming over and everything like that. And some, descriptions of them and everything, Swarthy, stuff like that. But again, I'm gonna let Amos go into it more. But what you thought about that when I just want to give him a shout out. What you thought about that with the whole visitation of Kent? Lee, shout out to Rhonda Johnson too.
Hey man, it's consistent. It's consistent with. It's consistent. I have a saying. The eyewitness account can stand by itself. The eyewitness and the artifacts can stand by themselves. If the artifact hasn't been tampered with, it can stand alone. There's one thing in history that cannot stand alone. It's dependent on the artifact. It's dependent on the eyewitness. And guess what that is? The ink pen. The ink pen is dependent on untampered artifact and the eyewitness account. In our generation, the white man said, write it down and you don't even have to prove it, and put it in a book and we'll put it in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all feel me on this?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? That means anybody can pick up a pen and write a story as long as it fits the narrative of white power and white supremacy. It'll be in the classroom. But I always say that ink pen has to match the untampered artifact and the eyewitness account. And the ink pen cannot stand alone. But in our generation, it does.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they call that in the hood? A lie.
Mm-hmm. Cap.
Yeah, that's the new word.
Yeah.
That's the understood why cap for a lie. You know what I mean?
I don't know, but they know what it means. Cap. That's what that is.
Yeah.
However you want to get to it.
We ain't going for it. That's what that is. You're gonna have to show us some sources like how we show up here on these stages tonight. You know what I'm saying? But I would just tell anybody to go check out the visitation of Kent and see about all those surnames that technically, some of y'all might have, and how they're coming in to the Americas and tied to the area over there, migration, kind of like that when you were showing that slave voyage joint situation. You know what I'm saying? I think that's like the House of Names and everything like that, kind of tied to all this. You know what I mean, with the visitation of Kent. So I just wanted to. It's interesting.
We be showing y'all our sources over here. We ain't hiding. This ain't our information, bro. We just doing the research. You know what I'm saying?
Right, you can't say we made it up.
AG, here
I
they
ain't
go.
make it up.
Here they go. Thomas Jefferson had a secret black wife. You think? Thomas Jefferson.
Oh my!
What they don't know about Thomas Jefferson is he was descended from the Scots. He was descended from the Scots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what you think he was? Why you think he hit, man?
My boy say pen mightier than the sword. That's exactly right. That ain't a saying for no reason.
Hey, I told you I used to be a gangster, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they caught me. And when they caught me, they took me down. I was in the Cook County, downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
Never forget this. They was bringing brothers in with leg shackles on. They had sheriffs guarding the back door, guarding the side doors. And I was sitting there, I'm sitting there waiting on my turn. And I'm thinking, man, these must be some bad dudes. And they got all this security in there. And then I looked in the front. There's a little bitty old fragile white man. He got the little church choir. He got the little black robe on. And he got an ink pen in his hand. He was doing stuff like this. 35 years. 464 years. Triple life. That means, he said, triple life. That means if you come back as a baby, you got to start off in prison. That's a joke.
That's crazy.
But what I'm trying to show you is the baddest man in that courtroom was the dude with the ink pen. I learned from that.
Definitely. He ain't got nail gun in his possession.
Man, look, man, got glasses on, bald, and pray like if you slapped him, he'd die.
Exactly.
15 years. Get him out of here. Huh?
Yep.
Right.
Oh, shit, man.
Life is just truth. Hey, we can't make this up, can we?
Okay.
Hey, the truth is stranger than fiction, as they would say.
Mm-hmm.
I had a judge. I missed a court date one time. I got the dates mixed up. So when I said, oh snap, I missed the date. So I showed up the very next day to show them, hey, I ain't on nothing. You know what that judge told me? He said, you just played your get out of jail card. No, stay out of jail card.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, man. I've been there, done that. And now, now I'm the good guy.
Trying to kick this knowledge.
These young cats, these cats in their 20s and their 30s, God give them life. They turn back around and give 30 years back to the system. Come on, man. Y'all got to stop, man.
It's going to be
my generation. Yeah.
They jagging their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
crazy.
wait a minute. It got so bad that the females are shooting the brothers now. Come on, man. Who ever heard of such a thing, man?
Yeah, we all twisted up.
Huh?
We all twisted up right now. Ghetto to the ghetto across America. It's ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
Crazy,
male versus female. We got all sorts of problems out here right now, man.
That's why we need this knowledge of self, man. So we know what's really going on.
They clone Tyrone for real, man.
You hear me? Hey, but that was another classic show, though, fellas.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I pulled up for us on live. You hear me, Lee? I appreciate your time. Hopefully, when we schedule the next one, I don't know. We ain't got that scheduled yet, but when we figure out what we do for the next one, we're going to get with you ahead of time. You know what I mean? But I'm glad you came and broke down the Southern. Well, you coined this term, you know what I mean? The Southern Gate. You know what I'm talking about?
Hey, man, I coined a lot of stuff. I'm going to say this. Them chumps out there, they plagiarizing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Y'all don't believe they plagiarizing? What are the odds?
That's pretty
that
crazy.
A white scholar goes on the History Channel and does a piece on Benjamin Franklin's essay. What are the odds, man? A week and a half later.
All I know is History Channel, whoever y'all watching this, y'all bring us on there, and we'll get you some real ratings because it's gonna go digital.
Like
we're going viral, but them black people over there, them black people over there. What are you talking about?
Man, let me tell you, you know who our greatest enemy gonna be in that day? A brother.
Bro, that's who it is right now.
That's what it is right now.
Don't talk about the white man like that.
Man, they be at our neck.
Right?
That's who we be beefing with more than anybody as far as this information go. It'll be our own people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Most of our hate comments, we see them all. They be talking crazy to us, but it be so
just talking crazy too.
Hey,
they be coming out crazy too. Trolling like a mother.
Who's defending Biden right now?
Black people going crazy.
The local House Negro, all of them.
They all on BET Awards. They
got a lot to lose. They gonna pull that funding. If you niggas, you brothers don't run that commercial, we pulling that funding.
Yep,
that part.
You don't kiss that hand. We pulling that funding.
Yeah, they need that money. Hey, I swear I heard them say something at the BET Awards about being a black-owned business, and I'm like, when did they get rebought by some black folk? Somebody let me know.
That's true.
I don't know.
They got bought out. You know what they said? We cannot let these Negroes have a TV station this big.
Yeah.
That was he dude. Oh wait, I'm talking about that started out as a black TV enterprise, didn't it?
Yeah, Bob Johnson. Yeah, yeah, him and his wife. Yeah.
Shout out to Bob though. He did it big back then, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I said I give shout out to Bob though. He did it big, but once he sold it, I mean,
it was over.
I'm just saying. I heard them say the other day. I mean, they said there's a black production company that was hired to do the event of BET Awards, but the BET network is not owned by folk.
Man, the governor came in and bought that place. They said, man,
to my knowledge,
said these black folks can't have a mode of communication like this. They can communicate with all their people at one time. Bad from it.
Yep. Peace to you.
Back then they gave them $1 billion.
Yeah, it was some big number. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a pretty penny now.
That part.
And that boy Creek Blood said,
good shot, Creek Blood.
Yeah, he said, don't nobody bite if they don't like the food, and y'all got soul food cooking. Peace to the party. That's what I'm talking about, my boy.
See, that's what I'm saying. These brothers and sisters, we have some great little. I had to steal some of these little one-liners. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
Right, I'm cuffing that.
Yeah. But all right, what you got on it, Matt?
Again. Hey, man, listen, man. I mean, I was going to do the Portugal, but I think we covered it within the requiremento, so I ain't got to be redundant with that. Obviously, we've been covering a lot of this information, though. Lito, again, though, our bills with you with the details of how it interacts with the 13 colonies and the Negro Question series. So anybody that hasn't gone and got that series and checked out any kind of book, matter of fact, I'm going to show this other book. Lee, I got this book. Matter of fact, I got this one thing I'm going to say to you before we slide. See this book right here? But we always go into, I want to go to part 6 real quick.
You see that dude on the front of that? That's King Charles II.
Yeah.
That's King Charles. And that's how he looked on the original charters.
In this book, my last thing to you, Lee, is going from 114 to 115 in the part 6. You say location, Westminster Abbey, London. You know what I'm saying? It's just, like you said, the image of King Charles II of Scotland on this page. And it says, have you ever heard that saying, like father, like son? Well, that's exactly what occurred here. Lightning struck twice, and it got the same results. This time it was learned that King Charles II was attempting to convert to the Catholicism by making a secret deal with the French. King Charles was forced to abdicate his throne in favor of his nephew James II of England. During the reign of the Black German King George I, 1714 to 1727, the Jacobites rebelled in England. This was nicknamed the 15 because it took place in 1715. The Jacobite covenanters, Black Jews, were trying to wrest the crown from the Black German kings Hanover and place the Black Stuart kings back on the throne of England. But this was not to be. The Jacobites were imprisoned, executed, or sent into the colonies or on convict ships. I want to remind you that the free Black Scots that founded the Americas came during the reign of King James I of England, Charles I of England, Charles II of England, and James II of England. You read it because you said it. You know, he said free Blacks that are coming to the colonies are coming underneath these kings. You know, you made it very particular in how you laid it out on this part of the page.
But you know, in that same book, you got Ship's Manifest that gives an eyewitness description of the Jacobites as being Black folks.
Yeah, as you say it too. Mike, can I read this one part real quick before you say
Go
that?
ahead.
And after that, you say, after you mention all those different kings, it says the free Black Scots came into the Americas in waves. Virginia, 1607. Georgia, 1732. Hampshire, 1629. Maryland, 1632. Connecticut, 1662. Delaware, 1701. Maine, 1622. New England, 1620. Plymouth, 1629. New Jersey, 1664. Carolina, 1663. Pennsylvania, 1681. And Rhode Island, 1663. You gave a nice little wave of these people coming into the 13 colonies as free, swarthy Black folk.
Bro, what does this tell you about this white man in America? In order for us to lose power over the colonies and become a minority in a genocide must have been rampant. Like the genocide that they committed on the indigenous people, they committed the same genocide with the colonists. We have a record of brothers leaving, 42 to 43,000 Black Scots leaving, going down to Canada and founding those major cities in Canada.
Yeah.
That we have a record of that. So what I'm trying to show y'all is this. The only people that have been deluded is us. And you know, like you brothers and sisters out there, that thing called fun is what's keeping you in captivity.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have fun every day and not be broke. That's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Oh yeah, you get your ass to work some type of way.
Right, every day is fun. You know, you $100 on Monday. You spend $200 having fun on Tuesday. Another $100 on Wednesday. You keep spending that $1 and that $2, and them shorts add up, man.
Mm-hmm.
All day. And you know what, too?
You
You made it very clear on this page, dealing with the Germans, You said that King George II was a very evil king.
He's an
You
evil
know what I'm
dude,
saying?
man.
He's the one that forced
But what did Thomas
enslavement of
Jefferson say
man, as
about
you
him?
say here.
What did
Yeah.
Jefferson say about him? Said
I
the
mean,
same
yeah, that's the
thing.
same thing. He said the same thing, that King George II, because it's saying that he was the first king of England to legalize the enslavement of men.
Ain't nobody gonna do. Nobody believe me. You know, it's kind of tricked out. It's like niggas. I repent for saying that, but brothers been fighting. I know, man. Ain't that say? I'm sorry, y'all. I ate that food, and that food did something to me. It
Yeah,
shook
yeah,
something to
yeah.
me, right? But check this out. They've been biting off me since. They've been biting off me for 11 years. So I deliberately didn't write a book for a whole year to see what the competition would come up with if I didn't have nothing for them to steal. You feel me? You feel me?
Oh yeah.
I am not lying. I said, man, I'm so tired of these cats because you guys can think. For a long time I used to think that everybody was smart. I was operating from the hypothesis that everybody was smart. And then one day I woke up and I said, nope, there's a bunch of dummies out here.
Oh yeah, a whole bunch of them.
Ain't it, man?
Oh yeah.
Anytime you shoot somebody in front of the police, I got to question your IQ.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm simply saying is they biting off of us. I keep telling y'all, I just seen them do a History Channel piece a week and a half after we did the piece, showing what it is they so upset with Benjamin Franklin right now. But they can't denounce him because he's white boy number one.
Right.
And now we come back today. We hit him with Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
Now, what you gonna do about that piece? The rough draft of the Declaration of Independence. Come on, man, that's cold.
Hey, man, we gonna have to leave him with that, man.
Oh, is that your cue?
That's the cue. We didn't
that's
hit him.
the
We done
curtain-
gave him
that's
2
the
hours
curtain
today.
call,
We gave him a good one right there.
We
With
gave
this
him
shit
2
right
hours
there.
today.
Call. I like
I'm
that.
gonna eat me some food. I'm gonna eat some food.
man.
I'm jealous because you been eating while we
Yeah,
working. I'm about to go
got me
eat
over
myself.
here
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, like,
Hey man,
shit,
I
I'm gonna
had
go
a
ahead
2 hour.
and enjoy my
I had a
evening before I
2 hour
go to the
workout
road.
today. I need that. I needed
Oh,
that
that's
bad.
good.
No pressure.
Yeah,
I've
I
had
like
a long
that.
day too, though. I ain't gonna be mad at you, Lee. I'm gonna holler at you in a minute, though. Peace to everybody in the chat.
Hey, hold
Everybody
on.
that
Hey
pulled up.
guys,
What happened?
y'all
What
can
you
get
got?
the Negro Question book series. You can get it from Amazon.
Oh,
or
put
you
it in
go
the
Yes,
chat
sir.
for everybody
Yeah.
too.
Or you
Yeah,
go
hold
to
on
the
real quick.
bookstore. Y'all get at me. And if you want to talk to me personally, my phone number, just don't call and curse me out. I get angry. Hey, what they said about Hulk. Anyway,
Yeah.
you go to the bookstore, you get my number, call me, say hello, and I'll call you back. I promise I will. All right.
I just put it in the chat.
Yeah, come holler at me, man.
For
Hey,
sure.
guys, like always, right? I enjoyed myself. I don't want to say goodbye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see you soon. We talk soon.
All right.
Peace to everybody in the chat.
All right.
Man, peace to everybody, man.
All right,
When y'all
Silo.
on y'all way out, if y'all haven't hit that like button, tell a friend, leave
Share
a comment.
somebody. Tell them what
that.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
pull up on
Hey,
it. See y'all
we
Sunday.
gonna surprise. We gonna come down to the South, and we gonna do this in person. We
Yeah, that's
gonna
what we're working
rent
on.
it. We already talking about this. We're gonna rent a spot, and we're gonna all come together. We're gonna break bread. We're gonna do it just like that. Yeah, it's not gonna be Jew nor Gentile, Catholic nor Protestant. Hey, that's Martin Luther King. I'm bit off.
There you go.
Let me slide on you, man.
All right, guys.
Y'all.
All right,
y'all.
All right.
Peace. On the way out, y'all, I'm gonna play this Maroon J, man. We gonna play that part of my autonomy real quick. Hold on. We ain't ran this in a while, except for the Sunday show. I gotta show my boy some love. We talked about that white slavery today. Hold on. Let me get it right. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, shout out Maroon J though, man. You know what I mean? We gonna show him some love, man. Go check that out. Go like and share this joint. Put us out there. Let this go viral. You heard me? We need everybody to tap in. Let's go. Peace.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pale racist? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tribe to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lusty. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding Ruchis. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black forces the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. But you never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.
Whenever I start to feel alone, I just play the voicemail that I say before things change. Now I read the message you sent